Zach, good. Roll. Catch tuck. Let's go. There you go. There you go. 1, 2, 3. UND.
Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of North Dakota, the former game home to UND football, now practice home, and today site of the 2015 spring scrimmage to put a wrap on spring practice. Dan Hammer, Ryan Kosowski, the analyst of UND football here on Midco Sports Network, and over the next half hour we're going to bring you events and newsmakers of spring football 2015. Ryan, this scrimmage today is in fact that, a very controlled scrimmage. 21 players who figure to be a big part of this team come fall, not playing today because of injuries. So today is a very controlled environment.
It is, and this is important for those players that you're talking about that maybe aren't established, guys that need to, make their name and show the coaches that, what, we can do this next fall, and we're guys you can count on. Very, very important day for some of those kids.
How different do you see the comfort level this spring compared to a year ago when this staff was new to the job? The players were learning the coaches were learning the players.
Yeah, it's been so evident that the players are comfortable now, and you can see it when they blitz, you can see it when they they run their offensive plays. They're just so much more comfortable, Dan, and when you can do that, it's amazing how much more free you can play, how much faster you can play.
Yeah.
And I think the coaches will say that, I think the players will say that everybody's a lot more comfortable with what they're doing now compared to last spring.
Head coach Bubba Schweigert is on tap today here in our spring football special, as well as offensive coordinator Paul Rudolph, and also defensive back Cole Reyes will join us here with the spring scrimmage as our backdrop here on a beautiful day at Memorial Stadium. What are you most curious about this football team, Ryan, from what you saw last year moving ahead to the fall of 2015?
Well, it's to me, it's to see if they can continue on what they did last year. Strong ending. They finished strong. They played hard.
Defensively took huge strides a year ago.
Absolutely. Defensively, I think Keaton Studgerud got better as the quarterback. Everybody seemed to be, making strides that way. It's continuing that now and getting better and doing those kind of things. It's going to be very interesting to see if this team can make a big step up.
Well, you mentioned Keaton Studgerud, and he is part of one of the big storylines in spring football this year, because the quarterback situation last year for UND figured Joel Moberg was the #1 guy. He went down to an injury. Ryan Bartles played some, and then at that time, the true freshman, Keaton Studgerud, was thrust into the starting role. He and Ryan Bartles are competing this spring, with Joel Moberg recovering from his Achilles tendon injury. Is Studgerud #1 exiting spring football? We don't know that, but he's had a great offseason, his first offseason in college football.
The keys may not yet be in Keaton Studgerud's hand to be the starting quarterback next season, but he's working every spring practice towards that goal.
At the beginning, things were still a little fast, but they slowed down over the course of 15 practices, and it's going well. Things are getting slower, reads are getting easier. Not really thinking anymore, more just going out there and playing.
Studgerud's inside track to commanding the huddle next fall may be the experience he got at the end of last season when he started the final 4 games.
Looking at it now, I think it definitely benefited a lot, just like being in a game situation, because it helps with practice when we do team blitz and go against the defense live. So a situation like that, it definitely helps, seeing different coverages and just like knowing what to expect when going live. So I think that looking back at it now, I think it definitely benefit me.
The additional poise from that opportunity is also catching the eyes of those around him.
I think the last 4 games of last year really helped him getting that game experience. Having played the position, there's really no substitute for getting those live bullets and going out there and getting those reps. So I think he gained some confidence from that, having won the last 2 games the last fall.
I think he's picked up the offense a lot more. You can definitely tell he's a lot more comfortable running the show back there, and his balls are getting nicer, and confidence, I think. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
It's a difference that is guiding Studgerud as he transitions from year 1 to year 2 in the program.
It's definitely a lot more or less stressful when you're not just thinking so much about the game. We're just going out there and playing and having fun. Definitely a lot more fun, just not having to think so much and worry about your mistakes. But no, definitely pleased with how I've done.
And now it's about shifting his focus towards the next hurdle, earning the starting role when auditions take center stage in fall camp.
Coming up next, Ryan and I will chat with offensive coordinator Paul Rudolph.
This UND Sports Extra Spring Football Special on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. We're joined by UND offensive coordinator Paul Rudolph. Paul, thanks for your time today. Year one to year two, have you seen you guys just play a lot faster in spring football?
Yeah, there's no doubt that we've got a better understanding of the schematicals. We've got a better understanding of how we want them to practice. And then you got guys that have some experience. So there's a lot more energy, if you will, a lot more juice in year two than there was in year one.
Mm-hmm. Coach, with the quarterback position, I think Keaton Studsrud and Ryan Bartles have gotten equal opportunities this spring. Anything stood out from those two, or anything you can tell us about how they've played this spring?
Well, the thing that Keaton gives you that probably was not one of Ryan's strengths is just his ability to extend plays and his overall athleticism, extremely quick release, things of that nature. But really, in all honesty, they've been. I've been real pleased with both of them. Looking at the right things, starting to see the right things a little bit quicker, all those types of things.
Very good. Is this something that next fall you want to have a guy named, or do you want to continue to play out, or
well,
what are your thoughts?
I'd say we're probably fairly close to saying what we might do, but at the same token, I don't know that anything's written in stone, and I think those guys got to be ready to play hard and practice hard all summer long. And the thing that happens is come August 5th or 6th or whatever day we start, we basically start this process over again before we really get into game week, and we'll see how they get after things in the summer and in the fall camp.
Joe Moberg has said that he expects to be 100% by June. Is that the way the staff sees it in terms of his recovery?
Well, that's Joe's diagnosis, and he'd certainly like to. I think that's his best case scenario. We'd certainly love to have him ready to roll by June 1st. At the same token, we're also aware of, medically they're not all necessarily on that same page. It might take a little longer. We certainly hope that it's June 1. I think that's in the best interest of everybody.
Paul, your passing game, it seems like regardless if you have WR, TE, or RB behind you, you're going to find ways to get guys into the passing game, correct?
No doubt about it. Yeah, we've got to get all those guys involved. We've put a few things, tweaked a few things, and I've been real happy with our wideouts.
What have you tweaked?
We're giving them more options. They don't have to run a set designated route, getting a chance to really read coverage and look at things, and we've repped it and repped it and repped it, tried to get guys on the same page, and I think we're doing a nice job of that. And we're not only doing it with the running backs, we're doing it with the wideouts, we're doing it with the tight ends, and then all those guys got to be able to catch football for us.
One of your big off-season additions, a man who's very impressive, number 3, Jawan Arrington. Going to be your number 1 running back. He just has the looks of a D1 running back.
He looks like a Division I running back. There's no doubt about that. He's a big, strong, physical downhill guy, but yet he's got enough. He's pretty good out in the open field. We've been happy with him.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time. Jawan Arrington's road to North Dakota here has been a challenging one, both on and off the football field. Greg Ankers with his story.
As the UND football team continues to build a more competitive squad at the FCS level, part of the building blocks are getting guys from the FBS level. Jawan Arrington is one of those players who's already on campus getting a jump start on next season. But his path to UND was not a choreographed one. Arrington was one of more than 100 players forced to find a new football home after Alabama Birmingham abruptly shut down its program following this past season.
I told you yesterday that the University of Alabama Birmingham is shutting down its football program.
On that day, it was like you just found out the world ended. That's basically how it felt, because so much had been put in, so much work, so much sweat, tears, blood, that it just didn't make any sense why this would happen to us per se.
A coach at UAB had ties to running backs coach Kevin Maurice at UND, and that facilitated Arrington's move to the Northern Plains.
I'm like, this is not real. This is not real. This is just a joke. Somebody's playing with me. Well, maybe a couple more days later, I get a call. Oh, this is Coach Maurice and such, and we were expecting you. We want to meet you. Can you get your transcripts and everything? So, I'm like, okay, this might be real. Then he drives all the way down from North Dakota to Alabama. I said, this man is serious.
Right off the first play, first 2 clips, I'm like, oh, we need this kid here. I'm going to do what it takes, to get this kid to our university. So I made sure You know, even if I had to drive from North Dakota to Alabama to go see this kid, you know, and it was worth the trip.
But moving nearly 1,500 miles away from the world he'd grown up in did not come without hesitation following a family tragedy.
Everything has just been a trial and phase because, you know, during that year, that season, I had lost my father previous in the year. My dad suffered some type of brain damage in a motorcycle accident. A car ran a light and hit him head on. It was his brain, that part of his system was basically shutting down, so where it shut down the part of the system that basically tells your body you need to break down your food. So basically he kind of like starved to death.
Despite the great loss, Arrington is continuing to find strength in those around him, and their support is fueling his devotion to the game he loves.
My brothers and sisters, and I have a little one on the way, so, you know, that's basically what's driving me to go harder or go stronger than I've ever did before, because by you being the oldest and by you having another responsibility getting ready to come, you have to strive for the best. You can't settle for just mediocre or average. You have to hit that mark where you're at your full potential.
And Arrington's drive is likely to ensure that UND reaches its full potential next season.
Ryan, what will Jawan Arrington bring to this offense?
I think he just brings something they haven't had the last couple of years, a guy that can hit the hole and just break tackles. He gives you something that, you know, truly is the grade above. I mean, he's just a guy that can play, you know, fast, and not only on the field, but just his leadership aspect. If you talk to the guy, if you're around him at all, you know that he's a good leader, and that's what they need.
And we'll see him in the passing game too, won't we?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to get him involved. That's what Coach Rudolph talked about, getting this guy involved, you know, splitting him out a wide receiver, get the ball in this guy's hands.
Yeah. Well, coming up next year on our UND Spring Football Special, one of the leaders last year, young leaders on the defense, defensive back Cole Reyes will join us.
This UND Sports Extra Spring Football Special on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back to our UND Spring Football Special. My guest Cole Reyes, sophomore defensive back, who last year was one of the youngsters who helped take the UND defense and move it forward in big ways. Cole, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
How do you assess spring football? Where do you think you guys are here at the end of spring football compared to where you were at the end of the regular season last fall?
I think we made a lot of jumps, especially looking at last fall. I mean, a lot of our mistakes were just little errors, and I think we've cleaned a lot of those up, and I think everyone's on the same path, just ready to be a championship defense together.
And how much more comfortable are you being at just a read and react game in year two of this coaching staff and this defensive system with Eric Schmidt, the defensive coordinator?
Taking a huge jump. I mean, the few practices I got to play, I just felt so much smoother. I just got to play football more than think about what I was doing, and I could see other guys on the team are doing the same thing, so it's going well.
Is this defense deeper? Will it be deeper in 2015?
Oh, yes. I think new guys are stepping up. I mean, they're just ready to play, and yeah, I think we're on the right path, and we'll be good depth.
Yeah. In what areas do you think this defense has a chance to be better this coming fall than it was last year?
Definitely the secondary.
Secondary.
Yeah, third and longs. I mean, gave up a lot of those, so a big emphasis right now is our money downs, win the money downs, third downs. And I put a lot of that on our back row. I mean, the front seven, they're always doing good. They're always getting pressure on the quarterback. It's just we're letting guys open.
Yeah.
So put it on us, and we got to step up as a secondary.
Well, you take a look at the overall third down percentage number last year. It wasn't a bad number for your defense, but there were times when you gave up the big play on third down, right?
Yep, that was the problem. I mean, first, second down, we're doing great things, and then just little errors, like I was saying, that we've cleaned up this fall. I mean, doing a lot better job, and that's a big emphasis right now, for sure.
From your perspective on the defense, when you take a look at the front seven, how confident are you with that group?
Very confident. I feel like I could react off them. They're going to do their job. I trust them, so they make it easier for us in the back row to do our job. Especially playing man-to-man. I mean, we know that they're going to get pressure up front, so the ball's going to come out quick, so we don't have to cover for too long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm confident with those guys up front.
All right, what's this team's job between today, the end of spring football, and the first week of August when you gather back for the beginning of fall camp?
Stay together. We're trying to keep everyone up here in the summer. I mean, that's a big emphasis right now, and just stay in the books and hit the weight room hard.
Yeah. All right, Cole, good chatting with you.
Yep.
And
Thank you very
coming
much.
up next on our UND Spring Football Special, Ryan and I will visit with head coach Bubba Schweigert from Memorial Stadium here in Grand Forks.
This UND Sports Extra Spring Football Special on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back to the UND Spring Football Special. Ryan Kosowski, Dan Hammer, joined by the head coach Bubba Schweigert. Bubba, thanks for your time today. You're wrapping up your spring scrimmage today. Give us an overall assessment from your viewpoint of the practices this spring.
Well, we're happy with the progress we made this spring. You know, we wanted our guys to come out here and bring some energy and great focus every day and do a little bit better each and every day, and that's what we wanted to get better at our base offense, base defense, and we made good progress throughout the spring, and now we're wrapping it up today.
Coach, you know, spring ball is obviously about competition. Is there a certain group or a specific position that stands out that, you know, the competition has been very good, or is there, you know, positions still up for grabs in some of those spots?
Yeah, we're looking at a number of positions. You know, we really let the guys know after the 14 season we're going to play the best team in 2015, and all jobs are open, and that's how we approach it here. So the guys have been very competitive. Obviously we have some top guys that we held back a little bit in the reps, or if they're a little bit nicked up, we keep them healthy, but a lot of competition throughout both sides of the ball.
A lot of competition, including offensive line, which is a stark contrast when you look at the numbers you have to deal with this year. 13 offensive linemen in spring camp compared to what? How many last year were you dealing with?
Well, we finished with 7.
Yeah.
6 at spring at the practice 15. So completely different atmosphere out here when you can go 1s and 2s and get a fair number of reps to evaluate your running backs, evaluate your receivers. Last year, you know, the O-line just held us back just by pure numbers.
Yeah. Matt Cox. Here's one guy on the offensive line that seems to be making a bid to be part of the rotation. What do you like about Matt Cox?
Well, what I really like about Matt, you know, we approached him after spring last year, and he's bought into this move from D-line to O-line. And he's gained a lot of weight, a lot of strength. He was playing tackle. Now we're working him in at the center position, and really happy with his progress, you know, just wanting to get better in the learning and the time he's put in, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, physically, he's hit it hard. He's put on 50 pounds since he got to UND, a young man out of Olympia, Washington. First-team All-State offensive lineman, second-team All-State defensive lineman in high school. So the guy's got some good bloodline going there.
Well, he sure does, and that's what we look for. We want to get guys that want to put in the time and improve and become a Division I football player.
I think that's the thing you see too with these guys is they're bought in. You know, these guys really truly believe in what you guys are doing, and I think that's got to, as a coach, it's got to be a compliment that these guys are really buying into what you guys are selling, and you can see it on the field.
Well, I think it really helps. We have a staff that is a bunch of good teammates, and I think that resonates throughout our football team. And we have a way we want to play offense, a way we want to play defense, and the guys got to believe in that if we're going to take a good step here and get better as a program.
Bubba, you had to have some young guys step to the forefront last year, and in the improved defense, there were some guys like Drew Greeley and Brandon Dranka. Dranka was a real impact guy as a freshman last year. What's his upside as he looks to year 2?
Well, we think he can take a big step and a big jump from year 1 to year 2. You know, here's a guy that played high school just a year ago, and he was out there in game 1 out at San Jose in 2014, and we like his athleticism. We obviously think he needs to get a bit stronger and more durable. But he's improved in the weight room. Mentally, we see a big jump in his understanding of the defense, and we expect big things out of him, and he'll keep working at it. That's the one thing we really appreciate about Brandon and Drew Greeley also. They've really worked hard to get better in the winter season throughout spring ball.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the jump from high school to college, like you said, big things from that first year to that second year, especially time in the weight room, you know, getting more familiar with the system. I think you're exactly right. That's going to be a big jump for those kids.
Well, it is, and you know, the learning, just once you've been out on the field, I think you understand the game more. You understand what's being taught to you. You can learn. You can teach the other guys. You can ask questions that really apply to getting better on the field.
Bubba, as you wrap up spring football today, what are your expectations of your team between now and when we open fall camp come August?
Well, we really believe in the process here, and you know, I've always said you win the games in the fall, but you win the championships in the winter, the spring, and the summertime. And 2 of those phases are going to be done, and then we get into summertime, and it's an important time for our program to keep getting better and keep improving.
All right, Bubba, here we go. You're wrapping up spring football. Next step, the opening of fall camp, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it will be. We're looking forward to it.
All right, Bubba, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on our UND Spring Football Special from Memorial Stadium next here on Midco Sports Network.
This UND Sports Extra Spring Football Special on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
The tight end returned to the UND offense last fall, and looking ahead to this fall, there's no doubt that'll be in the mix in Paul Rudolph's offense.
2 years ago, the North Dakota tight ends group caught 0 passes. An unbelievable feat considering the offense threw on nearly 60% of their plays in 2013. Last year, however, with a new coach and a new offensive scheme, the tight end position re-emerged, contributing to about 1/4 of the yards through the air and 1/3 of the touchdowns.
We want him to be multi-positional. We don't want him to be that guy that can play tight end, but we want him to be that guy that can be the fullback. And then at times we want him to be that guy that can split out. So we're still, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but I think we'll take that next big step with him.
Junior Zach Adler made the most of his opportunities last season. He finished 2nd on the team with 24 receptions, and his expectations are to contribute again in 2015.
Just trying to, better myself from what I saw last year, just become a better overall athlete. Need to work on a few things. Been watching film, getting the coaching up, and everybody in my position group has got something to work on, and we try and work on it every day.
And he is a quality run game guy. Very good in the blocking game, and through 12 games last season, he pretty much held his own each and every week as he evolved as a pass catcher. Got better flexibility up in the upper body and was able to catch balls.
Adler's opportunity came at the expense of redshirt freshman Kyle Rue, who had his season cut short due to injury. Rue is yet to return to the practice field this spring, but the team is anxious to have him back on the field in time for fall camp.
What we saw from him before he got hurt, obviously, was that type of guy that the NFL guys love so much. That guy that can split out and catch the ball and can create a matchup issue, but at the same token, he was strong and physical enough that he was a very, very capable blocker, but he really can create a mismatch because of his ability to run.
Coach Kostic talks about us becoming a developed offense, being identified as a good offense. You make big plays, gash defenses, and I think Kyle can, he can make big plays.
But whether it's Rue, Adler, or another member from this position group making the plays, one thing is for sure, the tight end is going to be an important part of the offense this coming season.
Well, Ryan, being a former UND linebacker, you better than anyone knows that linebackers thrive in this defense. All 4 starters are back, and yet they'll be challenged. I think linebacker, whether it's inside or outside, is one of the deeper areas of this football team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that position, you've got Will Rattel, the leader of the defense in that spot right there, and you've got some kids coming up and some players right now that they're good athletes, and that's what these coaches are recruiting. They're not recruiting just big kids, they're recruiting athletes, and you can see that out there on the field right now.
Well, and people like Dylan Harmston are going to get a chance. UND just added a transfer from the University of Minnesota, so it's a position that is getting deeper and deeper.
And I think the reason, like you said, this is a linebacker system. You got to have good linebackers, you got to have good athletes in this system, and they're going out and they're getting those kind of kids right now.
And I don't think the staff is done yet in terms of possibly bringing in some people for 2015. Cornerback might be one of those positions that they're still looking, don't you think?
You're exactly right. And Coach Schweigert said that, we're not done right now. If we see a player out there we we know can help us, we're going to go get them. We're not going to settle with where we're at right now.
All right, expectations for the fall as you look ahead here on this final day of spring football?
Well, I think they're high. You know, I think that this coaching staff and these players, they believe in what they're doing. They have that confidence. They have the belief that they can go out and do some pretty special things.
North Dakota will open the season at Wyoming. North Dakota State back on the schedule this year, September 19th, and every home game this year will be seen here on Midco Sports Network. Again, Ryan will join me in the booth this year as our UND football analyst. There's a look at UND spring football. Thanks for watching from Memorial Stadium in Grand Forks.